The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Celtics Talk Pod, the off-day edition, as we brace for Celtics versus Bucks, a Thanksgiving Eve showdown at TD Garden. I'll ignore the fact that it could have been two teams on long winning streaks, a showdown of Eastern Conference supremacy. It'll still sort of be those things, except the Celtics tripping up in Charlotte on Monday night, and we're still emotionally moving on from that. But to get a little bit of a palate cleanser in here, here's what we got coming up. On Celtics Post Up on Tuesday night, we got a chance to sit down with Payton Pritchard, talk a little bit about the season, Crypto P, Drake shout-outs, having a big night in Charlotte on Monday, and a whole lot of wedding planning. So stick around for that. He also talks about the Bucks, but if you're interested in Payton Pritchard's playlist for the wedding and what's going in, the thought that goes into that, you might be especially intrigued. They got some Payton Pritchard numbers for you as well. Actually leads the NBA in net rating right now, and despite the poor shooting start, it's coming on strong. So we'll shine a light on some of the positives that are going on in Celtics land. But let's start here. Celtics versus Bucks, baby. This is the one. When the schedule first came out, I remember kind of circled all these Milwaukee games because it certainly felt like those were the two best teams in the Eastern Conference coming into the year. And boy, did that only get fueled in October when the Bucks go out and acquired Damian Lillard. The trickle-down effect, the Celtics go out and acquired Drew Holiday. This could be sort of an epic battle. And I know it's only November and you don't want to read too much into it, but especially with the Celtics smarting from the loss the other night, with the way the Bucks have played, I know a lot of us were sitting here laughing at them 2-2 and defensive struggles, but they've really managed to turn it around. And most impressively, they've won 8 of their last 10, 5 in a row. Giannis has gone for 40 points in each of the last couple games. Feels like this could be a real nice little early temperature check on two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. I'm eager to see just where the Celtics stand. This is a good test for Boston's defense. While, much of the season it's been sort of lingering near the top of the league. I think they were tied for first in defensive rating to start this week. It is a chance for them to really flex their muscle, show what they are capable of. The difficulty of having to defend both Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard will not be easy. In this new look Celtics, Al Horford coming off the bench, we already saw it in some of those Embiid matchups. It's difficult to get to maybe the preferred defender on there. It's a challenge for Kristaps Porzingis to continue as good as he's been defending that back line. Can he be a great individual defender against an MVP caliber player at the front line? And with Damian Lillard, how do the Celtics attack it? Do they put Drew Holiday on that? Drew Holiday is going to have some motivation in that matchup, being discarded from this team so that they could add this new piece, the main attraction to keep Giannis happy in Milwaukee. I would think that Drew, especially after missing those 2 free throws in Charlotte, after missing that dunk that could have put away the game in Memphis, he's got to be feeling like, all right, it's time to go up a level, remind people what he's capable of, and what a better way to do that than against the Milwaukee Bucks. Our friends over at Fanatic Sportsbook, I was looking at their Eastern Conference Championship odds. They've been in flux, but right now, Boston plus 150, Milwaukee plus 180. Philadelphia has crawled up to plus 600. And what that tells me is, they still see this as kind of like a wide open race, as good as the Celtics have been for much of this season. It's sort of a 2-horse race there. And the Philly's sort of that wild card, and we'll see what happens with them. And obviously they've shown they're probably closer to tier 1 than maybe some of us thought coming into the year, and the subtraction of James Harden and the blossoming of Tyrese Maxey. But I need to see where Celtics and Bucks are at, and are they just so clearly ahead of the field, and how do they match up against each other? Should we start penciling that in as a potential Eastern Conference final showdown? Again, 14 games into the season, it's a little bit premature, but I am eager to see where it's at. Celtics will, I think, open as favorites in this game. Last night checked, it was a 4-point favorite, and that feels about right. Celtics at home, Celtics with a little desire to get back on the winning track. But I can't wait to see the energy inside TD Garden. Celtics coming off that long road trip. If they've needed a boost, the TD Garden home crowd on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I think what's Tom Brady's favorite old expression that the crowd will be a little lubed up. I suspect that will be the case. It should be a rowdy environment in there with throwbacks to playoff battles of years past. Powered by Fanatics Sportsbook, where you can earn up to 5% fan cash on your bets. All right, so right before I started taping, the last 2-minute report came out. I'm going to touch on this real quick, and then I'm moving on because if you listened to the post-game pod last night, I just don't want to hear about the clock. Celtics had so many chances to put that game away in Charlotte, and now, my Twitter feed is a mess with people saying, oh, there should have been 3.2 seconds on the clock instead of 1.8 or whatever the number was. I don't care. The last 2-minute report is dumb as it is. I do not know why the NBA thinks it does anything except make people even more angry that there was all these missed calls. I get the whole ombudsman type thing and policing yourself and showing that you've made mistakes, but all it does is open wounds. And much like all the replays, I wish the NBA would consider potentially finding better ways to do this stuff. So it doesn't make it shouldn't make anyone feel any better. The Celtics should have won on 2 free throws by Drew Holiday in 10 seconds to go. They should have won when Jason Tatum hit the 3-pointer to put them up and then allowed the back cut. They should have found Kristaps Porzingis in the paint midway through that overtime period when Jalen pulled up for 3. So there's just too many could have had moments to make me sweat that they didn't have an extra 1.8 seconds on the clock. But let's look at the positive side. Payton Pritchard was amazing in that game. 4 first quarter 3-pointers. I think 5 first half 3-pointers overall. One of his best games of the young season after struggling with that 3-point shot for much of the start of the season. Really has got it going the last 5 games. And that's a huge development because the Celtics needed that bench to go up a level. And now you got Sam Hauser, despite a rough night on Monday, really bringing it. Al Horford has shown he can jump in that DeLorean and throw back the clocks just like he did against Philadelphia. And now Pritchard emerging. You're starting to feel a little bit better about spots 6, 7, and 8 on the roster. So let's dive into it. We'll start with some numbers accentuating how good Payton Pritchard has been in this week's Forsberg 4, and then we're going to roll into our interview with Payton Pritchard.
Forsberg's 4 and Forsberg, I know they finished this road trip 3-1, but I feel like a lot of good numbers are going to come out of this.
Yeah, and so we're not going to talk about the one a whole lot, except the fact that one of the silver linings in that game was just how good Payton Pritchard was. Just could not be stopped early on. Maybe we even should have played a little bit more late in that game. And you just got done talking about net rating, and that's where we start. Plus 16.3 is Payton Pritchard's net rating this season. We spend a lot of time on our programs talking about how good Jason Tatum's net rating is. We talk about Derek White and how good his net rating is. You know who leads the NBA right now, Amina?
Who was that?
That would be Payton Pritchard, who, despite a rough start to the season, has somehow climbed. And even when he wasn't scoring, he was making good things happen on the court. In fact, 3 of the 4 top 2-man lineups on the Celtics this season include Payton Pritchard. That's Payton and Drew Holiday at plus 26.9. JT, no surprise there in PP, plus 24.8. And Al Horford and Payton Pritchard plus 23. The other one, Kristaps Porzingis and Derek White, no surprise on that one either. But he's been so good. And the Celtics offense is 5.1 points better per 100 possessions when he's out there. And their defense, actually, he has the best defensive rating on the team. And it just shows, like, good things are happening when Payton Pritchard is out there.
Wow, best defensive rating.
Isn't that crazy?
Honestly, if you would have told me that before, I'd have been like, I did not know that at all. Did not expect that. All right, what's coming up next?
All right, the next one, plus 13.2. That is the increase in Boston's offensive rebound rate whenever Payton Pritchard is on the floor. They get 36.2% of their offensive rebounds whenever he's out there, and that number plummets to a team worst 23% when he's on the bench. Now, same way you just said, I don't envision the best defensive lineup being something with Payton Pritchard. I also don't sit here and say, oh, Payton Pritchard is going to be the best rebounder on the team. But the way he comes crashing from the heavens to get these offensive rebounds, to keep alive possessions, has an impact on this team. And it's part of the reason they've been so good, because they're turning a lot of those missed opportunities into second chance points and further aiding the net rating and how good they've been when they're out there. I just love, he flies around. He's not the one always getting it, but he's causing enough chaos that they're getting to them. And he actually ranks number 2 in the NBA among all players under 6'4" in offensive rebound rate. Only Gary Payton II has better ones so far this season.
I like that word chaos because that's pretty much what happens when Payton Pritchard is pretty much just trying to crash the boards and get those rebounds as well. All right, what's coming up next?
All right, number 3, we had to stick with the threes. 47.4%, and that's what his three-point percentage is over the last 5 games. We all know the story here. Payton was terrible through the first 9 games. 6 of 30, shot only 20%. We're sitting there going, what happened? Preseason P. I thought this was like, we thought they signed this big contract. He was going to settle in and he was going to dominate in the regular season. Again, he was making good things happen when he was out there. The shots just weren't falling until the last 5 games. Last night against Charlotte, man, they found out. I think he had 4 first quarter three-pointers, his first 5 overall. Really had it going. And it's just a little reminder of how good he can be, how good those shots, how good this team is when those shots are falling. And so, like, look, you look at the overall number right now, still down at like 31, 32%. But the more nights like that are going to push it up and we're going to forget about it. I kept saying, like, even Grant Williams started over 25 that year. Payton was going to figure it out. It's not like he forgot how to shoot. And I expect that number to keep rising moving forward.
And that's those shots for Payton Pritchard in the first half against the Hornets. They were falling and people were screaming. I could hear it through social media. All right, what's the last one?
All right, the last number is 5.8. And this is Payton Pritchard's league leading. I can't believe how many things Payton Pritchard is leading the league in this season.
Leading.
Turnover percentage. And okay, so what this does, this is the data from Cleaning the Glass. And what they do is they filter out trash time. The Celtics have had a lot of lopsided games. So we take all those fourth quarters of games that they've been up 20 or whatever, and we take those aside. And it really only takes out about 30 minutes of court time. But he has the best turnover percentage in the league at 5.8%. It's slightly better than Tyrese Maxey, who we spent a lot of time here talking about, like, it's almost incredible. He had one game where he played 40 minutes, didn't have a single turnover, and like it feels like he tops out at 2 per game. Payton has been super good with that ball. He's either catching and shooting it or making things happen. And it's not like he's been deterred. He's gone to the basket. He's shooting 70% at the rim, so it's not like he's been afraid to go in there and risk a turnover. He's just making the right decision. I love the efficiency that he has displayed on the court. If he can combine that with the three-point shooting, Celtics going to be really good position moving forward, and they'll feel a lot better about that bench than maybe we did at the start of the year. Yeah,
Payton Pritchard protecting that basketball as well.
Pritchard aggressive here in the fourth. What a move. Looks like the professor out there. And the crowd goes wild on the road. Put it on the mixtape for Payton Pritchard.
Let's welcome in Celtics guard Payton Pritchard right now. And Payton, you heard our guy Drew Carter on the call last night calling the professor. He even referred to the mixtape. I know you told me you were born in '98, so please tell me you understand that reference right there to the professor.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's actually from Oregon too, so like same like little area I'm from, so definitely know who that is.
Did you ever cross paths? Did you ever, like, I mean, I hate to overgeneralize and say there's a comparison there, but like, did you know of him growing up? Like, what was that like?
I definitely knew who he was growing up. I never crossed paths with him, but you know, obviously he has a sick handle, so I used to watch some of his stuff, so definitely.
You got a few nicknames over the last couple of games. The professor is the one that Drew Carter gave you. Also preseason people, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Drew also was talking about Drake that was at that Raptors game. He called you a crypto scammer as well. I mean, like, you got a lot going on. Tell me about the nicknames and at least which one that you like right now.
I don't know which one I really like, but you know, I always get random nicknames all the time, but I kind of just have fun with it, like the crypto scammer. I mean, I don't really know what that means, but like, you know, obviously it's like jokes, so I just go along with it. The professor, I've heard that one before, but P-Rabbit, I don't know, there's a lot, but it's funny.
What did you think about when you heard Drake call you the crypto scammer on the broadcast?
Did your phone blow up in the aftermath?
Right.
Like, as weird as that sounds, like does just Drake, being such the celebrity that he is, did that cause your phone to go nuts?
A little bit, definitely on social media for sure. Some of my friends send it to me and stuff, but for me, it's more like, you know, probably one of the greatest artists, rappers ever. Saying my name like that, I was like, oh, that's cool though. So.
We also saw that you will be getting engaged coming this summer. You got engaged, but you're going to get married coming up this summer. Tell me one song that you have to have played at your wedding.
I actually don't even know yet. We were in the process of trying to figure that out now, but you're gonna have to give me a couple weeks before I know which one. I haven't even decided on one yet.
I'll tell you right now, at least from my perspective, we had an intro song, we had a first dance song. There's a lot of songs that you got to pick, so you got to get ready, Payton. You got to have the playlist. I heard that you were like an R&B guy also, so I'm assuming that might be in the mix as well.
Oh, for sure, definitely. I'm gonna have everything on there, every different type of genre. R&B, maybe some country, I don't know, everything.
Ooh.
Oh, a little bit of everything.
Has she put you in charge of anything yet? Is there one thing you need to have? Like for my wedding, my wife said you're in charge of the music and you're not going to mess anything else up. So that is all you get to do. Is there one thing at your wedding you need? The photo booth, like something going on there? What's a must-have at the Pritchard wedding?
I kind of just wanted to set up like a nice like after the wedding, like a cool lounge, like for after hours type vibe. But for me, my only job right now is like, she's kind of handling everything. I kind of just am like the final decision maker. Like if she's in between a decision, I come in and like, I make the final decision on that. But she's pretty much handling it. So I'm glad she is too. It takes a lot off my plate.
I can confirm that that's pretty much how it goes with everyone, Forsberg, that the woman handles everything that happens with the wedding.
100%. 100%.
Don't let us mess it up. So you guys just came off a long road trip. You know, most of your games have been on the road so far this season. Take me inside that. Like when you're preparing to go on the road, especially a 4-game road trip where you know it's going to be a bunch of nights on the road, what's one thing you're packing to beat the boredom? Like what are you doing to kill the downtime? Not that you guys had a lot on this trip with all the games, but like what's one thing you have to bring with you?
I honestly started bringing my Xbox now. I joined the Madden League with all my like homeboys from back home. So like, I don't know, it just kills the time. There's a lot of like alone time in your rooms and stuff like that. So for me, it's just finding ways to keep my mind off of just thinking about basketball the whole time. And, you know, it gets lonely and bored on the road, but so finding little things like that.
And one thing that always creates a lot of debate around here are Thanksgiving sides, and Thanksgiving is obviously coming up. What's one side that you have to have on the table every single Thanksgiving?
Mashed potatoes and gravy for me.
Ooh, mashed potatoes. And you know what? I always assume that everyone is going to say mac and cheese. Matt Judon, a couple years ago, we had a lot of back and forth about the mac and cheese. He hates mac and cheese, but I just assume that everybody. I just assume that everybody loves the mac and cheese. That's got to be like the #1 side that you have out there.
I like mac and cheese, so that's probably like second for me.
Okay, so we go 1A, 1B, or 1 and 2 with that one.
I want to go back. I want to go back to the video games real quick. Like, how good are you at Madden? And are you like every other person in the world? You create yourself. What position is Payton Pritchard playing if you're inside the Madden video game?
Well, if I was to create myself, I'd create myself as a quarterback because that's what I grew up playing. But I'm usually pretty good, but this new Madden game, I suck at right now. I just lost like 49-14, so I was ready to throw my Xbox out the window. So I don't know. We'll see.
You also had a great night last night. A lot of people talking about it. A great first half as well. Ended up with a lot of points at the end of the game. Talk about the development that you've had on the court going into this season.
You know, I think for me, it's just like finding ways to keep impacting winning. And, you know, with as many good players we have on our team, like scoring isn't going to be the thing every night. So for me, it's like rebounding, defending, assists, like just finding little ways to impact. So I think I'm just growing my game in all areas right now.
Look no further than the award-winning 24 Auto Group. With over 2,600 vehicles in stock, the brands you love, backed by the savings and service you can count on. Visit today or shop online at 24autogroup.com.
You guys got the Bucks coming up before we even get to Thanksgiving Eve showdown at the Garden. You know, what do you expect that matchup to be like? Obviously, the ton of hype around both teams based on their summer moves. What are you expecting from that game tomorrow night?
I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. They're obviously a really talented team, really, you know, got two dudes who are really high level, so it's a good opportunity for us to come out there and compete.
All right, good stuff there from Payton. I don't envy having to navigate a expectation-filled season while trying to plan a wedding. Probably best to, you know, in the true spirit of a point guard, just put that ball in your soon-to-be wives' court they're going to take care of that anyway. I mean, Payton's just got to make a playlist probably, and show up like that. That's the two main keys. So we'll see if he can navigate. It could be a great summer for him. Think about it. Potential championship in June. I don't know when he's getting married, but yeah, that's just that multiple rings would be a mighty fine summer for Payton Pritchard. As we're recording, the injury report for the showdown between the Celtics and Bucks has come out, and the Celtics have no injuries to report. So that's really cool because that means presumably Al Horford back after sitting out the second night of a back-to-back, and Derek White, who missed the game the other night because of personal reasons, would presumably be back in there. That's great. Just, as we all sit here unaware of, what he's going through off the court, and hopefully everything is good there. Full strength Celtics going up against the Bucks, who, should be pretty close to full health too. This could be really fun. Really, really fun. I need you guys, before you settle down for Thanksgiving dinner, make sure you check out the post-game pod, whatever overreaction I have. I think me and Abby will be over at the Garden tomorrow night to react to that one. And it doesn't stop. In-season tournament game on Friday. Like, these pods are just going to keep steamrolling your way. Everybody needs to go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.